All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Harris Highlight Show. This is Matthew McConaughey. Oh, scratch that. This is a Academy Award winner, Matthew McConaughey. All right. Now, I'm here in Monrovia, California, hosting the Harris Highlight Show. We got a great show for you guys playing today. All right. Now let me bring in a very special guest that's going to be joining me tonight on the show. All right. Joining me first is Michigan head football coach Jim Harbaugh. All right, Jim, get in here, Jim. Jim, I think your microphone is off. Jim, your microphone is off. There we go. All right. All right, Jim.
Who's got it better than us, boys?
All right. Joining us next is head football coach at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly. Brian, welcome. All right.
Hey, happy to be here. Who has it better than us? Not Notre Dame last year. My guy Ian, sometimes I attach a book to my chest to remind myself of my elite quarterback, Ian Book, his 73-yard performance against your Wolves last year, Coach Harbaugh. Really inspiring. Sometimes your guy just needs a little bit of confidence, and that's what I like to give him. I give my guy confidence. Sometimes you got to stack the deck a little bit, like that onside kick to beat the spoiled children last year. You got to stack the deck, but I'm here to win football games.
All right. Now, joining us finally is Clemson quarterback and Heisman frontrunner, the future New York Jet himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Lawrence. All right.
Anyone but the Jets.
All right.
Anyone but the Jets. I'm listening to you, Tim. I'm staying another year. Anyone but the Jets.
All right. So this is me, Texas Professor Matthew McConaughey, Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey, Jim Harbaugh, Brian Kelly, and Trevor Lawrence. All right, boys, let's have a great show. That hat is a size too small for me, and we are going to go like this for the rest of the show. So we got a great show. For everyone that's confused out of their mind right now, this is our second annual Harris Highlights edition Halloween episode. If you didn't follow us on Twitter or you didn't watch us last month or last year, whenever that was, we dressed up last year. We're dressing up this year again just for a little extra fun. We got a great show coming out for you guys this week. A lot to talk about. We got some great guests. We got a great time here at the Harris Highlight Show. But make sure, guys, if you haven't already, go follow us on Twitter at the HH Show _. That way, again, we talked about doing this show in advance. We're a few days late. We're doing this on Thursday. Normally we do our show on Tuesday. We had some things to do, and watching the Dodgers win the World Series, that takes, top priority over this show. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Harris Highlight Show. If you're on Instagram, make sure you go follow us over there. You guys can find the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link to that is in the description below. You guys can help support the show by donating to the Super Chat. If you guys have a question you have for us, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, any game you'd like us to preview, talk about, anything like that, you guys can show your support. Donate in the Super Chat, and we'll make sure to talk about that. You guys can also become Patreon members for little as $1 a month. All that information is in the description of this video. Some behind-the-scenes benefits that we're working out. And we're going to get going in November. We can officially say that we're going to get it going in November. So a lot of fun stuff there. All right, guys, I did my intro. Everything's needed. We got some incredible guests joining us this week. How about we talk about this past weekend of college football? Kind of a very quiet weekend, I want to say. One of, I think, probably, not going to say the worst week, but probably the least exciting week so far of the college football season. So it'll be interesting to see what we talk about. This is why the Super Chat's actually going to be beneficial this week, because we have a few topics that we would like to talk about, but we really want to hear from you guys what you want to hear our thoughts on, what do you want to hear us talk about. So, guys, I guess the biggest takeaway is essentially just the Big Ten being back. Because when we were doing our show rundown, all the points were essentially Big Ten related. So I guess we're just going to kind of just overall talk about the Big Ten. They're back, guys. So we'll get more in depth on some of the bigger games from the Big Ten. But just what are your overall thoughts on the Big Ten being back and us essentially being 80%, complete in regards to the main slate of college football teams that play?
Hey, buddy, I'll get this one started. We're so happy to be back. Hang on, I'm just noticing that. Would you give me 1 second? I realize that my beverage is it needs a refill, so just give me 1 quick second here. We're gonna. Okay, hold on. We're getting there. It's probably good, right? No, we fill that up all the way. Okay. Oh, that stuff's cold. What was the question?
That's a good question. No one knows anymore.
Were you happy to be back, Coach? I think that was the question.
Yeah, I mean, every day I think who's got it better than us, and the answer to that question is obviously nobody. We're coming for Ohio State this year. We're going to break that 39-year drought, or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure the last time we beat him was when I was the quarterback, so we'll do what we can. For the first time in a while, we think we might have a complete team, and we think we're going to win 9 games. I don't know if we're going to play 9 games. Well, we'll play 9 games. We're going to play 9 games. It just depends on if we win all those 9 games. That's the question, is if we're going to win all 9 games. What was your question?
All right. So while or Coach Kelly, I should say, the Big Ten's back. What are your thoughts from this one?
Yeah, right in our neck of the woods, although we don't play in a conference except for this year, and we play in a conference that's down on the southeastern part of the country. For the Big Ten, yeah, it's good to see them back. It's good to have college football even more back in swing than we had before. Some good games, that's for sure. Ohio State looked good. Penn State, not so much. I'll save all that for Trevor Lawrence over there. But yeah, good to have the Big Ten back.
Listen, I'm the best there ever is. Plain and simple. Like, nobody does it better than me. I'm the best quarterback there ever is. But even though I'm a big Clemson guy, I gotta support the team up in the Big Ten for knocking out one Big Ten team from the playoffs, and that's Penn State. But who the hell would have thought that Indiana's a football school now instead of being a basketball school? Who would have thought?
So that's going to be the first one, I guess, that we're going to break down this week. And sorry, the reflection of the computer in the glasses is too much. So Indiana, we talked about it last week when we did the pick'ems. Kind of, that seemed like the one game where we all kind of wanted to pick Indiana for whatever reason. There was just some feeling that they would pull off the upset. The spread was only 7, which seemed like a very low spread. So I guess Vegas knew what they were talking
about. Dropped to 6.
Indiana, so dropped to 6 because everyone was getting on that action. Indiana, they pull out the last second win. Depending on who you ask, whether or not he was in it or not, literally as a photo finish as you can get. I mean, there were some photos where even then you couldn't tell whether or not he broke the plane, whether or not the ball was touching the pylon before he was down. Overall, I mean, it was a fantastic finish, a great game from Indiana. Their biggest win essentially, I think, since 1986, 87.
1987.
So 1987, they're ranked in the top 20 for the first time, I think, in all of our lifetime. So what a win from that. So, guys, I mean, for the most part, we know Indiana. We know, sorry, Brady, but they're not going to be competing for the Big Ten this year. No questions asked. I'm going to kick it off, though, with Penn State. A loss like this, it's with so few games. They got a game against Ohio State this weekend. I haven't looked at their schedule, so I don't exactly know when they're playing who, but they're already 0-1. Does this completely take them out of the this probably likely takes them out of the college football playoff picture, but does this take them already, do you think, out of the Big Ten title picture?
I'll tell you first and foremost, it is always good when an in-division team loses, but it's bad when they win too. So it's kind of bittersweet for us, if I'm going to be real with you. Got to get every last drop. We're away from the fridge. You got to keep it cold. I wanted the cup to be cold before I got that chilled milk. So we're playing it smart. I went to Michigan, man. All right. Anyway, didn't expect the result. I think it takes Penn State out of the big picture, at least for now. I wasn't in the middle of a sentence that time. I finished, ended with a downward sound, not upward inflection. But look, I mean, I definitely kind of a surprising result. Obviously, you're probably right, Blake. I don't see Penn State, or I don't see Indiana hanging around that long in conference. But look, like, we knew that Indiana was a team that's probably going to pull off a game like this year, where they at least keep it close for a while. And then this time they ended up pulling out the win. And Lyle brought this up last week. We talked about these concerns on the show. The concerns that we had for Penn State coming into the season were on display against Indiana, and they lost.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet so Brady can talk, but just losing Journey Brown, losing Micah Parsons, losing Yetur Gross-Matos to the draft, they lost a lot of pieces. I didn't think they'd lose to Indiana, but it was very apparent that there's some missing holes on that team. Indiana took advantage. And yeah, I mean, sure, that last play was close, but fact of the matter is, Penn State, they came into that game ranked 8th. If you're the 8th ranked team, you should probably handle them, and they didn't. I mean, they didn't really come to play. Indiana took advantage.
I'll tell you this quickly, though. Lyle, you brought up Gross-Matos a second ago, but when you have a guy like Shaka Toney who can just fill right in immediately, you saw what he did on, those overtime, that last possession is he took over on the defensive side of the ball. Listen, I said in the pick'ems last week when we first got the pick'ems from Blake, I highlighted Indiana because I'm like, I'm first game of the year. Let's have them win it. Let's see what they can do. But I changed in the pick'ems, for a safe pick. Not so fast, my friend. And so not so fast. And I said last week, prove me wrong, Indiana. Prove me wrong. And hey, they did. I haven't been happier for an IU football win in my lifetime. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm pumped about, but when your offense gets outgained by almost like 300 yards, like IU had, let me do this math real quick. IU had 211 yards. Penn State had 498. That's not good, but they won the game. So for the Penn State side of things, if you're doing that and you can't win a game, you got to do a lot more.
And
also, Freiermuth is one of the best tight ends in the country.
Real quick, I think you're right. And one thing that I don't think is fair to do, though, is to look at the quarterback stats for this one, because I thought that Michael Penix Jr., the stats obviously don't jump off the page, kind of like Brady said with IU as a whole. But then when it came down to the nitty-gritty parts of the game later, when you really need to when you needed some sort of leadership from that sideline, you get that last chance. That late touchdown obviously was not great from Penn State because it gives IU a chance to go down the field and tie the game, force overtime or whatever. But it doesn't end there. They still have to go down and score. And Michael Penix Jr. led the team down the field and scored. And then obviously the play in overtime and then the touchdown in overtime. So I think what IU did was impressive, but you're right. Like, it wasn't a great overall performance, at least offensively.
IU's got to thank Devin Ford for essentially handing them a chance to get back into the game. The running back for Penn State that scored with a minute and a half left, and IU just marched away downfield with Penix, who is a great athlete. He's a good quarterback, but that offensive line for Indiana is abysmal, like one of the worst offensive lines I've seen. And they got a young offensive line core too, so you got to create a balance there to see that. But IU's defense, they've got named Micah McFadden, who's one of the best returning linebackers in the Big Ten, played really well. I think he had like 12 tackles in this game. So he's going to be a fun player to watch. I've watched him for a few years, and man, I like I said, I'm so pumped for this one.
Yeah, I mean, great win from Indiana. And as we said, they're going to lose now back-to-back weeks or two of the next
absolutely.
3 and return to Indiana form. But all right. Now, before we get moving on to our next topic, we have to go to our Super Chat donations presented by Lincoln. I love a nice brand new Lincoln. I did the Lincoln Lawyer, but nothing really gets me going more than driving in my brand new spanking Lincoln. Now, unfortunately, one of our super chats is a little too inappropriate for our audience, but we still appreciate your generous donation. But our man, calm man, he says, "I'm totally ready. All right, for our Indiana or Rutgers overlords after this weekend. And by golly, that's going to be a great game. Battle of the undefeateds. And I very well think, all right, we're going to have this game in the pick'ems later tonight. So we'll be getting to that, my con man. Speaking of con man, those Virginia Tech Hokies, all right. They're like a bird flying away, just like their hopes for the regular season, Connor. Disgraceful, what you say. All right. All right, boys, let's get to our next topic. Again, as this hat was in the kids department, so I boofed up there. But some other things to talk about in regards to the Big Ten. Ohio State, I mean, this is the team that we all pretty much, I think, had as being a final playoff team. They came out, they covered the spread. I think it was in our thing last week. I think they were favored by 26. And they won by 35 points. So a true whooping.
That last score on that last drive really put it over. Hit the over.
True whooping from Ohio State. Justin Fields, a mere 20 of 21, just under 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 50 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Nebraska, we didn't think they'd be that good, so nothing really surprising here. But guys, thoughts and takeaways from Ohio State after this week 1 win against the good old Cornhuskers.
Yeah, all right. I'll hop right in here, you guys. So I think all of the film says that Justin Fields is really good. But ultimately what impressed me about Ohio State this week was not just the quarterback play, was not just the offense in general. I was impressed. I was really – Milton got my tongue. I was really impressed with the wide receivers. 8 different guys caught passes. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave each had over 100 yards and 6 catches. Jackson Smith Najigba, I think is the last name, Najigba. He had that insane grab in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. And we tweeted that from the show's account. If you haven't seen it, it was on Saturday, so it's not that far back. But 8 different guys caught passes from Justin Fields. And I always think that when you can spread the ball around like that, but still have a balanced offense where you can rush the ball too, you can rush the ball really well, you can throw the ball really well, and still have that many guys catch passes. I still think that's impressive, regardless of who you're playing against. The late touchdown really put it away and made it look ugly. But this is kind of what I was expecting a little bit to see from Ohio State week 1. Maybe Nebraska hangs around for a little bit, but in the end, the better team's going to pull away.
Yeah, I mean, the offense looked great. Justin Fields, look, this guy looks even better, I thought, than he did last year. Like, he came into this year, he's not going to play as many games. He still has a lot to prove in terms of his future on Sundays, even though he's going to go high. He looked, granted against Nebraska, yeah, he looked really, really good. Like, just his progressions got quicker. It looked like his throws were even better. I mean, this guy looks like he actually made even more improvements than one could have expected from his year 1 to year 2 in Columbus. The one thing I'd say about Ohio State is they probably need to run the ball a little bit better. And they have 2 guys who can do it. I mean, Master Teague and then Trey Sermon, who they obviously got from Oklahoma, are 2 guys that can perfectly handle the role that J.K. Dobbins left them.
They didn't even use Sermon in the first half of the game.
Yeah, so I was going to say he didn't get going till late when the game was out of hand, and Master Teague looked a little slow coming out of the gate. So the one thing, if you're Ohio State, if you want to nitpick and say here's something they need to improve on, they probably do need to run the ball a little bit better. When you've got Fields and you've got Olave and Wilson, like, you're going to be fine. They look good on Saturday.
So I brought this up a few weeks ago on the show and saying, like, all right, if any year for Michigan to beat Ohio State, coach, with all due respect, this is the year, in the crazy year that it is. And the craziness ensued. I turned on the TV on Saturday, was switching through channels, and, the Rutgers game was on, and they were up 21-3 at one point, I think it was. And my dad looked at me and said, what is going on here? I'm like, Rutgers football is back, I guess. So the Josh and Lau, we saw Michigan State last year, and they didn't look great. They were sloppy. I think Josh even said Michigan State was back, and look what that got you. And Look where that got you, Josh. They're not back. So I think the Big Ten as a whole is back. There are some teams who need to find their way. I think Michigan State can still salvage their season. And I think some teams will plateau. I'm going to say, IU and Rutgers being those teams will plateau and find their own rhythm in their own way. But having the Big Ten back, I said this in our chat, is, I really didn't see anything else this weekend in college football besides Big Ten football. Well, and I'm so glad about it.
Sorry, guys, I got to cut in right now because Trevor, you're here on the show with us, but as of 1 minute ago from Ian Rappaport, you just tested positive for COVID-19. So I don't know what you've been doing, bud. You should have been social test. He's like trying to figure out what we lost Trevor Lawrence. We lost Trevor Lawrence, but yeah, as of 1 minute ago, Trevor Lawrence has tested positive for COVID-19. So this will be interesting to see as to what happens with Clemson. I mean, what happens with their schedule this upcoming week? What happens with Trevor Lawrence? I mean, this is the kind of thing where we're actually going to just lead. Coach Harbaugh is kind of shocked. And I guess now everyone in the comments is kind of just finding this out now. It's like the first time we've ever had to break kind of news like this during the show. This is interesting news. As let me go make a banner right now so that way people coming into the show, they know what exactly is going on, what exactly we're talking about right here. So yeah, let's transition to this, guys. Trevor Lawrence has COVID-19. We just had him on the show. We just lost him. Graham Mertz, the quarterback for Wisconsin, had a great game. He tested positive for COVID-19, and they have a 21-day window where I guess they have to quarantine. They can't be I don't know what the actual rules are, but they can't be pretty much, I guess, associated with the team for 3 weeks. So that's 3 weeks that they're going to be without Graham Mertz. So I would assume now the 3 weeks starts right now. So Clemson, they're now without Trevor Lawrence for at least 3 weeks. I'm just going to get up their schedule right now so that way we can
Isn't the 3 weeks just a Big Ten thing? I thought that was just a Big Ten thing.
It might be a Big Ten thing. So I don't know what the actual protocol is.
It's just the Big Ten. Okay,
so it's just the Big Ten. So essentially, nothing really on the horizon. However, next week, guys, Clemson's playing at Notre Dame. So again, depending on how long this is, what the rules are, depending on how long the protocol is, this could be some major college football news. I mean, just this week, luckily they're playing Boston College, so I would assume that they're going to be able to squeak past Boston College. But if all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence isn't available next week, there we go. Trevor Lawrence is back, and he's got the stuff on.
Don't touch me on sterile.
So what does this mean for Clemson moving forward the next couple weeks? Again, I guess we don't know how long this is going to be, but then again, Nick Saban had it on what it seemed like Wednesday, and by Saturday he was cleared and coaching. So in the South, who knows? He very well might be playing this weekend. But what are your thoughts on this shocking news right here?
I think it falls on a good time. No offense to Boston College, but I mean, yeah, it's tough when you've got a big game looming. But I think what's smart here is not to try to rush him back. I guess Saban was pretty sure that he didn't actually have it and that it was a false positive. So they kind of rushed him back for that big Georgia game. I think it's really smart if you don't try to rush somebody back. Try to get those results in and do multiple tests multiple days in a row. But I think it's pretty clear. It's Thursday. Do not rush him back for this Saturday just in case it's a false positive. I think take your time, make sure that it's not there, because if you really think about it, aside from the fact that it's like a medical issue, you're also the number one team in the country. What if it is true? What if you get results back that say they're negative, but it's actually a positive, because that can happen too? And what if it gets worse in the team? I think your main concern should not be getting Trevor Lawrence back immediately, but should be to control the spread of this thing before the number one team in the country is still is infected by coronavirus. So
it's DJ and Taysom time, I guess, is what we're going to be saying. Or, who knows with Dabo? He might just he might put his punter in at quarterback like he did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and again, if people are joining, I hope they don't think it's like a fake graphic, because that's Brady's Halloween dress up. My costume is Trevor Lawrence with COVID, so this will be something to follow.
It's quickly switched.
Again, I mean, Clemson, they're going to win this week easily against Boston College, I would assume, but this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, they play Notre Dame next week, and if he's not cleared by then, I mean, he might be symptom-free now, but if the symptoms start in a few days, who knows how he'll react to it. So Trevor Lawrence, he's got COVID-19. Again, this is something to keep an eye on, boys. It'll be interesting to see because this could potentially, I don't think it'll affect his draft stock, but depending on how long he's out, it's a good thing that it's not the 3-week thing because that could be bad for Clemson, although they should still win their games, pretty easily, I would think. But all right, guys, moving back now to the Big Ten. We're just going to bring up, Graham Mertz, who Wisconsin got COVID, and now with the Big Ten, rules, he's out for 3 weeks. He looked fantastic for Wisconsin. Wisconsin looked good, and it's kind of a drag now because I think last week, if I'm not mistaken, one of our Q&A questions was in regards to him and how he's going to look, all the hype with the offseason, and he looked good. The hype was real, and now he's going to miss the next 3 weeks.
Well, not only that, but the team's going to shut down football operations, which was the smart thing to do.
The game's already been canceled this weekend.
16 cases, 3 of them since yesterday, including Graham Mertz and head coach Paul Chryst. So they made the right decision, shut everything down just for 7 days. But who's to say that it's only going to be 7 days? And I think they're playing it smart. Obviously, something happened. There was an outbreak. You try to have these like airtight plans, but obviously it clearly doesn't work out that way with baseball at the last minute and everywhere in college football and in the NFL. But yeah, shut it down for 7 days is the smart thing to do. Try to figure it out. Keep testing, and maybe you can come back in 7 days. Honestly, I'm not in the situation, so I wouldn't know. I would be surprised if it's only 7 days. Personally, I think it's probably going to be more.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, obviously it's tough for Wisconsin just because Graham Mertz looks so good. He had people really hyped up. But yeah, I mean, you have to be safe. I'm with you. I think 7 days is the minimum. I wouldn't be surprised to see it extended another week just to be as safe as you can. You just brought football back. You don't want to have – remember how you might have just said this, Josh, how in Major League Baseball people got worried 3 days in because of the Marlins. 3 days in, they had a bunch of positive tests, and heaven forbid they figured it out. But if you're Wisconsin, this is a long-term thing, not just for players' health, but if you want to preserve this season, you got to be erring on the side of caution here.
As John Rothstein says, it spreads, and it's been spreading. So, but it's a drag because I mean, for once, I mean that's Wisconsin. They're just every year something goes wrong, they lose a game they shouldn't. But it seems like, especially the last few years, a la Jack Cohn, a la Hornibrook, that they just have not had formidable quarterbacks to get them over the hump. They finally had it this year, and now, like we were saying, this week's canceled. Mertz is on a 3-week essentially quarantine now, or 3-week bye, however you want to put it. Is next week's game in question? That'll be tough. And I don't even know now, are they going to be able to make up these games because the Big Ten championship? I mean, maybe they prep one game, but Wisconsin has the chance to have 2 missed games. So this could potentially just derail Wisconsin's entire season.
They're ruling them as no contest, and they're not making them up because who was Wisconsin supposed to play this week? Nebraska, I believe it was.
I can't remember.
Nebraska reached out to the Big Ten, and they reached out to a little school known as Chattanooga, to see if they could play them this week. And the Big Ten said no. Chattanooga tested completely negative across the board. They went through all their pass and their tests and everything. So they tried to see if they could play another game, just to have another game in schedule against Chattanooga, but Big Ten said no.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go with that. Wisconsin will be something to keep an eye on. Guys, any other notables you guys want to talk about, at least from the Big Ten this past weekend? I mean, Coach, you guys had a 25-point whooping over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. That was, there were children watching, there were families watching that game on TV. I think half of us last week even picked Minnesota to beat Michigan. And Michigan, they came out, they dominated, they put a 50 on the Gophers. So, guys, are you impressed? We'll let Coach continue to dance. So, Coach Kelly, I'll throw it to you. Were you impressed with Michigan's dominant win this past weekend?
Yeah, I was. And I thought Minnesota was going to win this game just because I expected them to have the better offense. Michigan came out and they just dominated the tempo from minute one. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here just because it's only been one game. Granted, it's against a team we do think is good. It's also been a long time, similar to Wisconsin, since Michigan's had a good quarterback. Joe Milton's stats will not pop off the page to anybody, but just watching him play, he actually throws the ball downfield. He looks like he's got some good accuracy. Like, he looks way better than the last couple of quarterbacks Michigan's had, even just from watching him in one game. We'll see how he progresses, but this looks like a positive sign for Michigan. If you have a quarterback who's actually efficient and can actually march the ball downfield and air it out and throw it downfield, I think that's going to help Michigan a lot. And that would give them a much better chance against Ohio State than their one-dimension run attack they seem to run almost every year.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, like, if I would have told you guys last weekend, all right, guys, so Joe Milton, he's going to be 15 of 22 for 225 yards with 1 touchdown. You guys, I definitely can guarantee you guys wouldn't have said Michigan wins by nearly 30 points. As Lyle said, the stats, they don't pop off the sheet, but he looked good. I mean, well, I didn't see the game, so the 10-minute highlight video I watched on YouTube, he did look pretty good. But if Michigan can have that quarterback, like we talked about Wisconsin, that can get them over the hump. Michigan, they're going to have a great defense. They always have good offensive weapons. But I guess Denard Robinson was maybe the last great quarterback, or not even great quarterback, at least formidable. Oh boy, formidable quarterback for Michigan, and that was 6-7 years ago. So it's been a while since they've had a good quarterback, and that seems like what they're going to need to go over the hump.
You guys are forgetting about my 2017 team. Nobody had it better than us. So my quarterbacks that year.
Sorry, real quick, Coach. Where did you take your team that year? Was that Italy or was that South Africa? I think that was Italy.
We went to Rome that year.
Yeah.
We met the Pope. We gave him a Michigan helmet, and I said, "Father, I love you. We love you, Father. We love you, Father." He didn't know what I said, but we went and we met the Pope. It was fantastic.
All right,
practiced in Rome. How cool is that?
Well, I just would say we got more news in regards to just the whole Trevor Lawrence thing before, because this is actually kind of huge. So he has to isolate for 10 days, meaning he is now officially out for next week's game against Notre Dame.
That's tough.
Is it?
So 10 days.
Well, how do you feel? You feel good?
Me?
I mean, today's Thursday. 7 days from now, that's Thursday. You tack on 2, that's Saturday, that's 9. So, again, unless there's some way he gets out of it, Trevor Lawrence is officially out against Notre Dame next week. So, Lau, congratulations. Maybe you guys are going to go to the playoff after all with your
So I've been thinking about this, and I was going to save it for next week, but I guess now this news is prevalent. I actually wanted to see Notre Dame lose this game on Saturday against Clemson.
Why? You're not tanking for a pick.
Because, okay, here's why. It's unlikely they even beat them once. There is no chance they beat them twice. So I was thinking, well, they can lose the first game by whatever, make some adjustments, get to the ACC title game, and then maybe they have a chance. Because if they lose in the ACC title game, there's no way they're getting in. If they lose in November and win in the ACC title game, there's a chance. They still
you guys win both.
I don't think so.
But what if they do, Lyle? I mean, what? Chip? No, not Chip. Brian?
Chip.
Bro, Chip hasn't.
Hang on, I'm more Chip.
Chip hasn't been at Notre Dame ever. So.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, in terms of Trevor Lawrence, you just hope he's all right and you hope he recovers. I'm sure he will. But yeah, now all of a sudden this makes the Saturday game a little more interesting. I still think that Ugalele probably is good enough to beat them just with all the other weapons Clemson has, and Clemson still has their whole defense. But it's going to make it more interesting, that's for sure.
So, Lyle, you brought up a minute ago about the Michigan squad, a consistently good quarterback who can take shots downfield. Not someone with the top 5 football IQ. I've actually prepared a little something. Take a look at this, guys.
Blake Harris is known for lying to his followers.
Go for a cookie, but unfortunately, I'm on a diet.
Did Blake really say that Josh Rosen has a top 5 football IQ and Oregon will make the playoffs?
Not only is Oregon going to be in the college football playoff, they're going to go undefeated.
A Lyle Goldstein-led Harris Highlights show would never do these things.
I'm Lyle Goldstein, and I approve this message.
What?
I get a text out of the blue last week saying, "Can you send me an audio file saying I'm Lyle Goldstein and I approve this message?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I see what it's for, and I'm like, "Okay."
Blake, I was in your apartment with you texting Brady about this.
How'd you find the clip of me saying I'm on? Well, then again, every show I said I'm on a diet, but where'd you find that clip from?
Click through random episodes to try to find clips of you, and that was perfect. So, Lyle, give us your plea why you should be the host of the Harris Highlight Show.
Well, I'll just, yeah.
Go ahead, Lyle.
Because I am the leader the Harris Highlight Show needs. Short and sweet. I didn't know I was, well, this is not good. I didn't know I was going to be asked to come on here tonight and deliver a speech. I would have liked a little more time to prepare. But, you know, I like to come prepared. I like to lead with topics. I like to really engage all the fans. If I were elected the host of the Harris Highlight Show, I would put a lot more comments in the comment section, interact more with fans in the middle of the show, and bring more of your guys' questions in. Maybe open up the Q&A a little bit longer. We want to hear from you guys as our loyal fans, and that's why I'm fit to run the show.
I love it. Now, Blake, your rebuttal, you have 10 seconds uninterrupted.
You know, he sold me. Lyle, you're in the top left corner. Let's take it away. Take it away, Coach Kelly. Take it away.
Lyle Goldstein really thought that Washington was better than USC in 2016.
UW got outplayed. I still think they're the better team.
Does Lyle really support shooting animals and think Pistol Pete would win in a college football mascot battle?
Pistol Pete, baby.
Oh my
Pistol Pete. You guys are talking about a bunch of animals and humans here, but they would get shot.
College football fans deserve a better highlight show. A Schaefer highlight show.
I'm Josh Schaefer, and I approve this message.
I didn't know that was coming either.
Well, there is a lot happening on this show. So I guess up next, there's going to be a
Josh, your reason.
Now.
Only person on this show other than Blake Harris with experience hosting this exact show, baby. Man, I feel like I've got the qualifications. I've got the sunglasses. I've got the Jim Harbaugh impression. And all that matters is that I've never been on a diet, and I never will go on a diet. This is the Schaefer Highlight Show, baby. And I'll drop my dad bod on this show every episode because who's got it better than us? Nobody.
Everybody with more money to buy expensive pants. Yours cost $7.
At Target, they're $7. $7 at Target. Excuse me, don't call me a penny pincher. I'm smart. I went to Michigan and I wear glasses, Brian.
If you're so smart, you can't even tell the difference between, like a Notre Dame or a USC jersey, Josh.
Josh Schaefer thinks Michigan State is back.
They could legitimately be a top 5 team in the conference this year, or at least make a push to do so.
Does Josh Schaefer even know the difference between a Notre Dame and a USC jersey?
He was rocking a beautiful Notre Dame jersey.
So, I don't know what's wrong with it.
Brady Klein isn't the host we need. He's the host we deserve.
I'm Brady Klein, and I approve this message.
Put me in the top left corner. Come on. We're all fighting against each other, but I think we all have a common goal, and that's to fight against Blake.
Yeah, Blake.
All right,
So
I feel
Blake,
like there should be a video now against Brady.
Well, I didn't want to ruin the surprise and text you and have you send me one, so that's why there's not.
All right, so Well, this show has completely gone off the rails, which
As we planned.
It's Halloween. You have to.
with the show going off the rails, it means the fun must continue. So why don't we just go over to the news segment of Where Did He Go? The new game show where I pretty much give these guys the names of players in the NFL, and I ask, where did he go to college? We did it 2 weeks ago. I took some guys from everyone's favorite NFL team, asked them where they went to school. I gave them a hint for this week's edition. I said NFL wide receivers. So, guys, I got 5 NFL wide receivers up right here. So I'm just going to ask you guys one simple question. Let's get things underway, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you guys can interact and have fun with us in the comments as well. So keep this interactive. You guys can write it down, or you guys can just share your answer however you want to do it. All right, guys, we'll start with the first one. A very noble man, a very respectable man. Law enforcement, they love him. Robbie Anderson. Yeah, I think he's second or third in the NFL right now in receiving yards. Again, Robbie Anderson for law enforcement. Where did he go? Robbie Anderson. I'll give you guys a hint. It's not a Power 5 school.
Oh.
I know this one, boys.
All right, boys, let's what do we got? We got Cincy, we got Temple.
This is wrong.
And we got SDSU. Well, one of you three is right, and it's Coach Harbaugh. He went to Temple. Robbie Anderson, lover of law enforcement. All right, guys, up next. Wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. You can make the case he's probably the best wide receiver on the team. Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, guys, where did he go? Where did he go? Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. All right. All right, boys, let's get those answers up. We got Pitt. Wow, we got a clean sweep. The 3 of you guys got that right. Congratulations. So Coach Harbaugh's in the lead with 2. The other 2 of you have 1. Next question, guys. He currently is playing on my fantasy team. Haven't started him yet, but I'm getting really close to because he's winning me over. Justin Turner lookalike, Cole Beasley. Where did Cole Beasley go to school? Cole Beasley. I'll give you guys a hint. He went to a school in Texas. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. I'll give you guys 5. That sounds good. 5 seconds. All right, let's see those answers, ladies and gents. We got SMU, TCU, and Rice. Well, one of you guys is right. That's Coach Harbaugh.
They wear the same jerseys as the Bills almost. That's how I know that.
Coach Harbaugh is now 3-0. Trevor and Brian, you guys only got 1, but still plenty of time to get back into this game. All right, guys. Staying on the topic of Blake's fantasy team, Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder. Guys, where did Jamison Crowder go?
Like, you were expecting us to, monitor your team.
Or mine in the Harris Highlight Show League, which is why I know this.
There you go.
I had him last year, so I know this.
All right, guys. Jamison Crowder. Where did he go? We got Duke, and Miami. Well, sorry, Coach Brian, but he went to Duke. Coach Harbaugh is now 4-0. Trevor Lawrence has 2. Brian Kelly's got 1. All right, guys. This last one counts for 10 points.
So the first 4 didn't matter.
They count for 10 points. All right, boys. Here we go. Tyreek Hill. Where did he go? Tyreek Hill.
Didn't we do this one already?
No.
Oh, I know it's.
Where did he end up? Because I believe, if I recall correctly, he transferred somewhere because of an incident. So where was the school he got drafted from?
Oh, I don't know if this is the right one.
Oh.
Yeah, this is where he got drafted from.
All right, let's see it, boys.
Wait. Hang on.
I know the 2.
Well, we got Oklahoma State, which I think might have been the one that he went to prior. So, Coach Brian Kelly, I'll give you a few points right there. We got South Alabama and we got West Alabama State. Now, unfortunately, none of you were right because it is West Alabama. There is no West Alabama State. But either way, Coach Harbaugh, whether I give it to you or not, you still would have won. So, congratulations. You're the winner.
Yeah, I think he was at Oklahoma State before.
He was at Oklahoma State. I know that.
And then West Alabama. So there you go. There you go. That was this week's edition of Where Did He Go? Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks. I can't believe I almost got that too. I knew it was like one of those East or West Alabamas or something, but I thought if I didn't put State, I was gonna get screwed over. So that's why I put State.
West Alabama State.
That's it.
All right, guys, it's time now to get to our 4 stars of the week. Every week we choose a player, coach, team, anything we want. We make them our star of the week. We each go, and you guys let us know what your star of the week is. So drop a comment down in the live chat with who you thought of the best performance this week, who you think was the MVP of week 8, and we'll share some of your guys' stars with all of us. All right, guys. Brady, if you got that graphic loaded, ready to go, get that bad boy up. Let's see our 4 stars of the week. Let me drop this little bad boy right here. All right, who wants to get things kicked off with their star of the week?
I'll get things kicked off since my guys lined up first, and that's Breece Hall. There were a couple guys I thought about picking this week, but Breece Hall, he's the reason why this was a close game against Oklahoma State this past weekend. Look, every week I think is going to be the week that Brock Purdy turns it on, and I still think that he's a good quarterback. I just haven't seen the consistency. He's just been a little underwhelming every week. And like I said on the show, I thought that Iowa State was going to pull off the upset over Oklahoma State this past week, and they didn't. But Breece Hall stole the show for Iowa State. 185 yards and a touchdown. His numbers were better than Chuba Hubbard's. He outperformed Chuba Hubbard in this game and got no recognition for it. Chuba Hubbard was the offensive player of the week in the Big 12. I love Chuba Hubbard. I think he had a phenomenal game. Breece Hall did not get the recognition he deserved from this game, kind of like a couple years ago when Mahomes lost to Baker Mayfield and threw for like 900 yards, whatever it was. Like, that's what I think that he didn't rush for 900 yards. But 20 carries, a touchdown, 185 yards, and don't get the recognition you deserve. Star of the week, Breece Hall.
I was all over the place. I was like giving stars of the week to DJ Ukulele one week, who's a backup quarterback, and now the last 2 weeks I've like basically gone chalk. I went Trevor Lawrence last week, and now I've got Justin Fields. Look, watching this game, I talked about it a little bit earlier. He looks even better than he did last year. His one incompletion, Chris Olave should have caught for a touchdown. That was the one incomplete pass he had all afternoon. Other than that, he had 2 passing touchdowns. He ran for 1 through the air where he hit the B move and spun around a defender into the end zone. I mean, he's been unbelievable. He looked unbelievable week 1. Outside of Notre Dame, ASU, like my 2 main teams, this guy's like my favorite player to watch in college football, not including players on, the teams I really root for. He's a dual threat. He's so fun to watch. And like I said, he looks even better. Ohio State's going to be really, really tough this year.
I got to give a shout out to Captain Rob real quick first. He put it in the comments, and this is a guy I thought about doing. That's Nick Anderson. He's not my actual pick, but he's a true freshman walk-on safety who had 3 picks, 12 tackles, and got the start because they had COVID throughout their team or some injuries, and was immediately awarded a scholarship after the game. So shout out to Nick Anderson. But I went with Graham Mertz, also 20 for 21 passing, 248 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had a perfect first half, 273 QBR. But the one asterisk that he has is that, the positive COVID test.
One positive test.
One positive test.
So it's unfortunate we're not going to be able to see him for a few more weeks. Mine is Dylan Gabriel, 26 of 40. So he wasn't, nearly perfect like these other guys. 5 touchdowns, 420 passing yards, and a win over Tulane. He now has the most passing yards in all of college football. He was an early season Heisman candidate, but UCF, Josh's favorite team, reigning national champions, they lost. So unfortunately, no longer in the Heisman discussion. But Dylan Gabriel's been having a fantastic year so far this year. Again, leading the country in passing yards. And overall, anytime with over 400 yards with 5 touchdowns and you get the win, that's impressive in itself. My favorite comment that has their favorite star is short round Kevin Cash. I think he's mine too.
Hey, congrats to you guys. Go Dodgers. Good for you guys.
All right, guys, but those are our 4 stars of the week. I mean, we had a lot of people, sharing who their stars of the week were. So I'm just going to go get them on the screen right now for a few. I like this one right here. Hooker for getting Nick Anderson on scholarship with his 3 picks. So I think that's a good one right there. Beaver highlight Zach Wilson. He's already been, I think. Was he Josh's star? He was originally mine.
He was a star last week. He was my star last week.
Yeah, so there you go. So a lot of great stars for the weeks that people had. Some ones that we had. Todd Graham getting his first win in Hawaii. He's a star of the week. So there you go. Goes right there, guys. Anything you guys want to bring up, talk about before we move on to our Q&A?
He's probably real proud of his guys, Josh, isn't he?
He's probably just real proud of all the guys. And Ohana means family, and family just means that nobody gets left behind.
Big fan of Moana there too.
Oh, well, I just realized
that was Lilo and Stitch.
Before we move to our Q&A, I'll put this right now over here. I'm going to bring up Blake's bets. It was a fairly good week this past weekend. We went 3 for 2. Well, 3 and 2. We went 3 and 2, so we went 3 for 5 this past weekend. We're 15 and 12 on the season. So, guys, these are my 5 bets this weekend. I got Alabama minus 21 over Tennessee. Oklahoma State minus. Actually, no. These are last week's bets. Those are the ones I just wrote down. These are my bets this week, guys.
You use that.
I like Michigan State plus 24.5 against Michigan. Anything can happen in a rivalry game, regardless of how bad they are. As I've said every week, whoever Kansas plays, bet against them. Iowa State minus 28 against Kansas. I like the over of 64 in the LSU Auburn game. I like the over of 58 in the Oklahoma State Texas game, and I like Arkansas plus 12.5 on the road at Texas A&M. So those are my Blake's bets of the week.
Go ahead. I do have one thing before we move on, and I'm going to reach behind me right here and grab this real quick.
What do we got?
This was Blake's guarantee from last week. Blake said Shane Buechele will have 5 touchdowns and 375 yards.
Ooh.
Blake, the update on that. Ready for this? It's hard to have 5 touchdowns when you only score 13 points. Shane Buechele had 216, a touchdown, and an interception. So,
yeah, there you go.
There you go, Blake.
It's also SM. I was gonna say it's one thing that SMU lost, but the fact that SMU, who had like a top 5 offense in the entire country, they were held to only 13 points. Again, losing to Cincinnati wasn't too much of a shock, but scoring 13 points. And when I was looking back on the pick'ems, Josh was like praising West Virginia's defense for being so fantastic. I think they allowed like 35 points, like 500-600 yards. So that just goes to show anything can happen in the beauty that is college football.
Last Thursday, Blake and I were watching the Dodger game, and he's telling his buddy, he's like, look, if you're looking for a game to bet this week, you are taking Clemson against Syracuse every day of the week. And then Syracuse covered the 47.5 point spread, which I did not think was going to happen. And they lost by like 20.
Yeah.
Win in my book.
They were respectable.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the old saying?
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
There you go.
That's what we're aiming for at Michigan.
All right, guys, it's time now to get to our Q&A. So ask us those questions in the live chat. We already got one coming up right now, guys. It comes from our man Connor hitting us up with this question. So Connor, as always, thank you for the donation, my man. What game that did not involve any of your favorite teams do you wish you could change the outcome for? So no 2005 national championship. Also, Blake, being a Hokies fan is like being a Clippers fan. They destroy all hope. And that second part is pretty accurate. That is actually spot on. Except I think the Hokies, so the Hokies give you hope like, 10 games, 11 games into the regular season, and then they break your heart? Because the Clippers, they go as far as you can get. And then when you're, kind of almost there, they break your heart. So, guys, this is a good one. What game not involving your favorite teams do you wish you could change the outcome for?
This is kind of a real cold question. So as we all know, Daddy Harbaugh always brings his gloves when it gets cold. Always brings his gloves. Hail to the victors. If I could change the outcome of one game, I would probably have to be that 2017 Ohio State-Michigan game when it looked like he was short, and then they changed the call, and then Ohio State won. That was kind of bad. I think Michigan should have won that game. Obviously, if there's one other game I could change, it'd be 2016, the Mocs in Tuscaloosa against the Crimson Tide. I would change that game. Also, it's hot. I'm taking these off.
Before I even give my answer, what would our show have looked like that Monday or Tuesday, whenever we did it back then, if Chattanooga actually won that game?
We'd be on Barstool with our own show. We would have making the late show rounds to be celebrities. But yet Alabama had to pull off the upset.
Yeah.
If I had to pick mine, honestly, I'm just going to date back a year ago. Ohio State, Clemson in the playoff game. Number one, I'd like to see Sean Wade not get kicked out of that game. I hate the targeting rule. And number two, I would have liked to see Chris Olave run the right route. One, see if he catches that touchdown. Most people think he would have. And two, don't get me wrong, LSU Clemson was good for about a half in the national title game, and Clemson's obviously a great team. But a lot of me really wanted to see Ohio State LSU in the national title. I wanted to see Joe Burrow versus Chase Young. I wanted to see the Ohio State offense versus the LSU offense. It wasn't a bad national championship. Obviously, LSU just proved how good they are, but I really wanted to see Ohio State.
I would have loved to see Ohio State there too. That would have been a lot of fun, on my end, because I was there. You know what? I'm going to reach back a little further than any of you guys. 1869, New Jersey, now Princeton versus Rutgers. That was the first ever college football game. Rutgers started off their elite dynasty that their football team is. They won 4-6. It was a high scoring game, but I would have loved to see the New Jersey Tigers, now Princeton, obviously, get the win there. So I'm going to go back a little further and say 1869, New Jersey versus Rutgers.
All right. I had plenty of time to think of what game my Texas Longhorns could have done. And although thinking back at the beautiful national championship, which I think I actually opened up that national championship with comedian Will Ferrell, I would change, and I'm sticking on topic because I'm an Academy Award winner, Matthew McConaughey. So I'm just going to say the 2009 national championship when Colt McCoy, he got hurt and he left the game. If Texas wins that game, do they become a powerhouse? Do they become a dynasty? What happens with my Texas Longhorns? So, all right. Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Matthew. What is your official title with this Texas football team right now?
Oh, I'm just one of the guys.
That's not the official title. What's the official title?
My official title is it's all about the team. I don't want to be associated. I don't want any attention on me. All right.
So you don't know what it is?
I'll be honest. I had some maker's mark before I got on the show, and I was driving my Lincoln in. I can't remember. So whatever my title is, all right. You can tell me.
The Minister of Culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's me at Michigan. That's Jim Harbaugh at Michigan.
I'll get it for you, Blake.
All right, so I'm the Minister of Culture at my Texas, my pride and joy. All right, I'm gonna go get my nice orange jacket out, and I'm gonna throw it to you guys to handle the next question. All right.
Well, welcome back to the Schaefer Highlight Show. It's me, Josh, not Jim Harbaugh. We've got a question from Steven Smith here. Thanks for the donation, Steven. He says, are you guys willing to admit that the Big 12 can play defense, not just offense, if you watch the Iowa State versus Oklahoma State game? Trevor Lawrence, you're looking your skin's kind of green. You're probably fine, though. What do you think?
first I got to put my mask on, because safety first. Wear a mask. Do what you can. I don't know, dude. The Big 12 is one of those conferences where, hey, each team's going to put up 60 points, but we're also going to play some defense. But then the next week it could be like 6-3 is the final score. So it's the most inconsistent conference in all of college football. So I don't know if I'm going to say they're back, if the Big 12 can play defense, but they're definitely an offensive-oriented conference for sure.
Lyle, before you go, we'll mention the comments. Yeah, we talked about Trevor Lawrence getting the news earlier. We talked about it right when the Rappaport tweet came out. And Blake had mentioned he's out for 10 days, which means he's most likely not going to play next week. Yes, again, this is the Schaefer Highlight Show. He's not playing next week against Notre Dame if it's not a false positive and if he's actually out for 10 days. But yeah, I mean, wish him the best. Hope it's a quick recovery and that he's all right. But yeah, Lyle, Big 12, go on a rant, dude. I'm here for it.
Brady took the perfect word out of my mouth, and it's consistency. Eventually, at some point in a season, you're going to have a game that's not 68-66 in the Big 12. Yeah, I mean, okay, on Oklahoma State as a whole, I don't really know what to think of them. Like, they're currently ranked as a top 10 team. Do I really believe they're that good, or do I think that it's just the result of a couple of teams taking bad losses and college football not quite being back in its full swing yet, with the Big Ten just starting and the Pac-12 not yet starting? I don't know. I need to see Oklahoma State put up some more convincing wins before I'm ready to believe they can really compete at a national level. In terms of this game as a whole, yeah, there's going to be games where it's 24-21. There will be games where there's some defense. But the conference as a whole, as we've talked about, does not play defense. Like your two darlings of the conference, Texas and Oklahoma, have not played any defense this year. Until I consistently see teams put up quality defensive efforts, I'm going to believe it when I see it.
Blake, I'll hop in here so that you can just end it and then take us to the next question. This game, I think Lyle was right. Not every game is going to be a 60-point shootout or whatever. I also think that this game is kind of a unique situation where you've got two teams. Both should have insane offenses. And as we've seen week by week this season, these are two underperforming offenses that have tons of weapons. Breece Hall, Charlie Kohler, Brock Purdy on Iowa State, Chuba Hubbard, Spencer Sanders, who's played, one game now? Tylan Wallace. I said before this season even started, that's the best trio in college football, but with those three right there. I really do think so. And Sanders was okay. Tylan Wallace hasn't gotten going yet. Chuba Hubbard's been fine. But again, like these are two teams that offensively at least have not unleashed their full potential yet. So I'm going to settle down on it. I'm a big proponent of the Big 12 plays defense, just not as well as all the other conferences. But I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit here. I think this week's game, the Iowa State-Oklahoma State game, is a little bit of an anomaly for the Big 12.
Yeah, I missed a portion of the opening chat. I think Lyle may have said something similar to this when I was coming back, so I'm not exactly sure if he said this or I'm just completely off. But we've seen many teams in the Big 12 have spurts where it's a game or two or a little where they play good defense. They look good. I mean, Oklahoma, there were times last year their defense looked legit and people were hyping up their defense. But until we can see majority of the conference for majority of the season, let alone in the biggest games, I mean, if you have a weekend game this year, I'm not going to read too much into it. Until in a playoff game, until in a big bowl game, we can see a Big 12 team lockdown defense. They're still going to have that narrative because, again, it's not going to matter if a team, goes the whole season, they're allowing 14 points a game, and they go to a big bowl game, they go to a playoff game, and they allow 40 points, 600 yards of offense. So I get that there's maybe some teams that are playing some good defense early on in the season, but again, I want to see it on a consistent level. I want to see it on a yearly level, and I want to see you guys do it on the stage in the brightest moments. All right, guys, our man short round. Always
real quick before we do that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but in the comments, apparently Trevor Lawrence got COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that in the comments. Trevor Lawrence, got COVID.
Yeah, we've talked about it about 5 times already on the show. So
really?
Welcome newcomers who are just tuning in late. All right, guys, pick one to have in your house: a movie theater, a gaming room, a gym, or a pool/jacuzzi.
I think the gym, pool, and jacuzzi. I'm going to stay away from those because I think those are all very, very realistic things you can have in your house. In the house, though, I think that's cool. I have a pool and a jacuzzi that I can see right now, so I'll stay away from that. I'm going to go with the gaming room. And I was talking with my dad about this the other day and thought, how cool would it be to have, like a couch and a TV or whatever with like an Xbox or something, but have like a dartboard and have the little basketball thing and a pool table and one of the old things that has like 70 of those old games on it. One of our friends used to have one of those, and we used to go over to their house all the time, total party house. And he had one of those rooms with like the old Pac-Man and stuff too. But also he had a TV that you could just swing out and put a game on or something. And I feel like if I had a game room in my house like that, I would literally spend every Saturday in there playing little old arcade games and watching football. So I'd go with the game room, hands down.
Okay, I'm gonna pick pool and jacuzzi. Because I knew you guys were expecting me to say gym. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Prove us wrong.
I'm gonna pick pool and jacuzzi, and I'm gonna say indoor pool and jacuzzi because that's not fun if it's outside and then you live in some cold weather state hypothetically where you can only use it part of the year. So I'm gonna say indoor pool and jacuzzi because that's a luxury that not many people have. So I'm going to take that.
When we say movie theater, what are you guys talking about? Like a projector screen or like a full-on?
I'm thinking you have a projection screen. You have like 10 or 15 pretty comfortable chairs. Because, I think if it's like an actual movie theater, I would assume that's what short meant, like one of those rich person movie theater homes, not an actual, IMAX 50 Pro.
What were you just going to say, Lyle?
You have a movie theater in your house, don't you?
I do. It's just like a projection screen. We have like a big couch, and then we have like a ping pong table next to it. So I guess that's sort of the game room. And then around the corner we have a gym, which we have a video of Jordan, our good buddy Big J, working out in there. Don't have a pool or jacuzzi. So I'm gonna go. I guess pool or jacuzzi.
Yours though, right? In Indiana.
It's in Indiana. Yeah, it'll be indoors. Or like maybe like just a hot tub because you can do a hot tub year round.
Yeah. They're all great. I want all of them. But if I'm choosing one, I'm with Josh. I want a game room. I want to have like a billiards table in there. I want to have some like old video game type things. I want like one of those, mini basketball hoops. I want a dartboard, maybe a little foosball table, some air hockey. I want all that stuff.
Sorry, real quick. What's the best like game room, like game? Is it Pop-A-Shot? Is it darts? Is it ping pong? Is it pool? What is it?
I like a good air hockey table. I
love air hockey.
So
I'm here for pool.
Lyle's saying ping pong though. I
was gonna say, can I pick ping pong or what?
Well, that's got to be your centerpiece. Your centerpiece is the air hockey table, the ping pong table, or the pool table, because that's the must-have. One of those is a must-have. But I'm sticking away from that, and I'm going for the old arcade like setup that has the monitor in the middle and the joysticks where you can literally pick like 60 games, and they come with like 60 games on them. I would go with that just
like
because
the old NFL Blitz or NBA Jam, like those are great.
So he had like the 1942 airplane games. There was like a baseball one that had like fake names for everybody. There was like one of those like World War II little like aerial view shooter games that you'd go around with. It had Pac-Man on that. Those are great. Cool. Oh, it's Beasley.
It is.
Peely.
Great dog. Like super scared.
There goes Peely. All right, guys, let's go right here. Random person wants to know which was better, the quadruple doink or the negative 38-yard punt?
Doink.
Oh, 100% the doink.
You'd have to try to do that again. Like, if you really wanted to see another negative 38-yard punt, punter takes a snap, you just turn around and boot the thing backwards. You would have to try a million times to hit another quadruple doink.
I actually think you'd have to not try to hit the quadruple doink, because if you try, you might get one, maybe you get two. You're not getting four if you're trying to get four.
Like you play the crossbar game, like whether either you throw it or you kick it, and like if you hit one, like you got lucky. To hit it 4 times, like you know how easy it is to have a negative 38-yard punt? Like there you go, negative 38 yards.
Yeah, I mean, having the quadruple doink though, I mean, that's, you can't practice it. Like you can't try to do that. That's impressive. Brady, you said in our little private chat to ask your question, so I don't see your question. So just pretend you're some random commenter who's asking your question.
Well, I can pop it up right here. Hang on.
Okay, because I can't find it.
Oh, man, where did it go?
I told you I can't find it.
Hang on. Here it is.
What's the best tailgate? I feel like it's something. I mean, I think we've talked about this before in regards to tailgates. I mean, whether you're having a burger, hot dog, anything that's on the grill, anything like that, give me it, and I'm fine with that.
Pulled pork.
All right, well, Brady.
I said barbecue. Barbecue at a tailgates is key, whether it's chicken, hot dogs, whatever.
Anything from the grill. I'm down for anything. I go to 2 big tailgates whenever I can at SC, and they've all got different stuff every week. And then for the noon games, huge breakfast spread. So I'm down for some variety. And if you're lucky enough to go every week, if you can mix it up every week, that's the way to go.
All right, guys. Dan Daniels. So when Arkansas beats Texas A&M this Saturday, are they really going to be the second best team in the SEC West?
If they win, sure.
There's a battle of elite quarterbacks in this game, I guess, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Felipe Franks and Kellen Mond.
Well, yeah. It's just weird to think about, because if you look at the two teams on paper, and they were, I feel like I'd still feel like I should take LSU just because of the offensive weapons they have with Miles Brennan. You have Terrace Marshall. You have Eric Gilbert. Like it feels like on paper it should be LSU. On record, like it is Arkansas, which is crazy to say.
So if Arkansas wins this game, because I think Auburn plays LSU this week, so one of those is going to have the upper hand potentially. But yeah, there's a chance, even in the standings wise, Arkansas could be tied for second, just behind Alabama after the game this week. Our man Connor, here we go. Fruit roll-ups, fruit by the foot, or fruit gushers.
You cannot go wrong with either of them. But if I remember anything from elementary school, it's the gushers, man. Whoever had the gushers was the best, was the coolest person you knew. For me,
I do not like gushers. I do not like gushers. And this is Halloween week and we're on Candy Talk. I do not like gushers.
But you like dots? But you like dots?
I don't like the inside of gushers.
All right.
I don't like the gut.
I guess Josh does, though. Or Coach Harbaugh, I should say.
Coach.
Okay,
I love gushers with my milk.
Yum.
I'm also going to take fruit gushers, but I will say if you're trying to decide between fruit roll-ups or fruit by the foot, I feel like you got to go fruit by the foot. I don't think there's any way the fruit roll-ups are better than the fruit by the foot.
Look at the quantity you get. Fruit by the foot, which is actually 3 feet, I think, they're great.
Agreed.
Lyle, when you eat a fruit by the foot, I don't know when the last time you've eaten a fruit by the foot was, or any of you guys. Do you guys like try to peel it apart, like the little cut down the middle where it's like curvy? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I think I would just eat it. I never did that.
All right.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out which one's which because I was getting confused between the roll-ups and the by the foot because I thought fruit by the foot was the fruit roll-up. But I thought the fruit. Well, I'm sorry for not being the fruit expert over here. Sorry, having some
candy, not fruit
over here. Anyway, I think. Wait, I just looked the photo. What was it? Okay, not fruit roll-ups. No, I like fruit by the. That's a tongue twister. Fruit by the
foot.
Remember when they had those like tattoo ones too? Where you had like the tattoo on your tongue. I like those. I was never a huge fan of gushers. Like I don't mind them now, but I was never like a massive gushers fan when I was a kid. But all right, guys, that wraps up this section of the Q&A. Why don't we pick some games? How's that sound?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, once again, Josh, you guys know him. Shout out BD for the barbecue.
Absolutely.
You just dropped it off mid-show. That's great.
All right, guys, moving on to the pick'ems right now. Going on to our leaderboard, guys. Lyle's still in the lead. He has a 4-point lead. He jumped ahead because last week he was only up by 2, but now he's got a comfortable 4-point lead. I'm in second with 50. Brady, you got 49. Josh, you got 48. So it's close. I mean, the difference between first and last place is only 6 games. We got yet another 15 or so this week. So, guys, let's get things kicked off underway. Minnesota at Maryland.
Big Ten battle. We really gave it to Minnesota last week, but Northwestern gave it to Maryland. I think Minnesota gets a big bounce back here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying, Lyle, what happened to your Gophers? What happened to your Gophers? It's like no matter which way I go, they do the opposite. Because last year I said, well, there's no way this team's any good, and they just continued to win. And then last week, I'm like, yeah, they're probably the second best team in the Big Ten. And then Michigan killed them. Against Maryland, though, Minnesota will be fine. Rashad Bateman will have a big game. I'm taking Minnesota.
You know, I don't remember. I don't know which one of us tweeted it on our account. It said it's officially Talia time for Maryland.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, and then you responded a couple hours later and we're like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friend. I'm going Minnesota. Minnesota on the road. Unless they get a COVID outbreak from playing the other day.
Right. So well to see. Yeah, Minnesota. I like them big here. Maryland. That's. I feel like this has literally been Maryland ever since they were 3-0 last year when they had like the best offense in the country. We were actually talking about whether or not Maryland would be a legitimate contender in the Big Ten, and they just went on that awful stretch where they lost like 7 of 8. They were barely scoring anything. So it looks like there's something still going on there with Maryland. But I like the Gophers. Hawaii at Wyoming.
Hawaii had a nice win over Fresno last week. Also, I went to Hawaii when I was a freshman in high school, came back with a UH shirt. It was very sweet. Don't know where it is. I think it should still fit me now, but I have no idea where it is. But I want that shirt. I'm going to find that shirt. I've got Hawaii.
I'm taking Todd Graham in Hawaii.
I'm going to roll with you guys too. Hawaii on the road. You know, there isn't much home field advantage this year in college football, but when you're Hawaii playing on the road, that's a home field advantage for any team. I'm going Hawaii.
Yeah, you got to ride it with Todd Graham. You know, great guy. Loves his guys. I'm going to go with Hawaii in that one. Number 5, Georgia at Kentucky.
This one, hands down, this one's an easy one for me. I've got the Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah. Georgia wins by 2 scores at least.
I'm going with Georgia for sure.
Georgia wins by 3 scores at least. Memphis at number 7, Cincinnati.
Love Brady White, love Memphis's offense, but Cincinnati, I think, takes this one. I think it's a close one. I mean, they were just absolutely dominant against Heisman contender and SMU Shane Buechele last week, and I thought that was going to be a close game. This one, I think that Memphis's offense is really, really good and definitely good enough to keep it close, but I've got Cincy.
Yeah, I'm going to take Cincy too. I mean, unranked versus number 7, you'd think just looking on paper, oh, this game Cincinnati should easily win. Memphis will hang around. Memphis has the offense to hang around, but I think Cincinnati pulls out the win.
I was going to say this was my upset watch of the week, but I decided to push that to a later game. I'm going to go with Cincinnati at home. Like I said in weeks past, I love what Luke Fickell is doing at Cincy. I'm going with the Bearcats.
I'm going to make this one my upset of the week, so I'm glad Brady didn't get in on the fun with me because that would have really been a downer. Cincinnati, they're only favored by 7 points in this game, so it is like I think that Lyle said, where you look at the matchup, you think it'd be a lot more, but it's going to be a close one. In Memphis, they have what it takes to pull off this kind of win, so I'm going to go with the Memphis Tigers in this one. Number 16, Kansas State at West Virginia.
If you look at the stats and you look at their game-by-game numbers, these two teams are actually very, very similar. Except for the fact that Kansas State has won 4 games in a row since losing to Arkansas State at home to open the season. I'm sticking with the hot hand. I'm going with the Wildcats.
Yeah, West Virginia's defense has been pretty good, but I think Kansas State just outlasts them. I'll take Kansas State.
You know, I said a pick ago that my upset special was going to be later in the episode. It was just one pick later. I'm going West Virginia home with the upset to K-State.
Yeah, I'm going to go, as I always usually like to do, with the fight and Ron Wolfleys with this one. So I'm going to go with West Virginia.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Bobby. All right, number 20, Coastal Carolina at Georgia State. Coastal Carolina, they're playing with fire at this point. They're just getting higher and higher in the rankings. And at some point, they're just going to mess around and crack the top 10 if they continue this pace.
Coastal Carolina is located in Conway, South Carolina. And you know what that's near?
Conway Twitty. No.
It's near Myrtle Beach. And if I've heard one thing about Myrtle Beach, it's pretty nice. So I'm going to go with Coastal.
As our friend Sam Wiederhaft would say, I'm rolling with America's team. Give me Coastal Carolina.
Go Chanties.
Shants. Rank the Shants.
Go
the
Shanties.
Chanticleers. The classiest name in all of college football. The Chanticleers. I'm going with the Shants. America's team. Move over, Cowboys. The Shants are here now. Go with Coastal Carolina.
I'm going to quote Ricky Bobby in Tailgate Nights. If you don't pick Coastal Carolina, well. Yeah.
Pick someone else. You're picking Georgia State.
UCF at Houston.
UCF's offense is too good. I'm taking the Knights.
Yeah, I'm going to take UCF. Dylan Gabriel has a big day.
Dylan Gabriel riding off the momentum of winning our Star of the Week. I know it's a prestigious thing in college football, and that's definitely going to the word's definitely going to get down there to UCF. So I'm going with UCF.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my Star of the Week and Dylan Gabriel to help the Knights get a win. This could have been the worst of the worst, years ago, but now it's the best of the best, featuring two undefeated teams. Number 17, Indiana. Enjoy while you can, Brady, because this might be the highest they ever get. Or Rutgers, because this might be the last time all season they're not ranked. So the Hoosiers and the Scarlet Knights.
I said it earlier, the stats don't jump off the page if you look at Indiana. But you know what? Michael Penix Jr. was effective. He was reliable. He showed his leadership capabilities. And turns out he's super clutch. I'm taking number 17, Indiana.
This one's for you, Brady. And because Indiana's just the better team. I mean, I don't really care that Rutgers won. They're still Rutgers. I'm taking Indiana.
For the glory of old IU. I'm going Indiana. I mean, I picked against them last week, and I feel like a fool. A damn fool. Indiana by 100. 110. I'm sorry.
I went back to the Harris Highlight Show archives this past weekend and determined that not once has anyone ever picked Rutgers in a pick'em. Not once. They've never been picked.
Really?
Unfortunately, that's going to have to live on because no chance am I picking Rutgers to beat Indiana. So I'm going to go with the Hoosiers. TCU at Baylor.
Charlie Brewer has a big day. I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah, I like Baylor at home. Give me Baylor.
Baylor at home. I think TCU's got a decent squad. I think they're 2-2, 2-3 this year, but they play better than their record. But Baylor, I think, is the better team in general. Charlie Brewer, a good quarterback down there in the Big 12 who's overlooked. I'm going Baylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Baylor in this game. LSU at Auburn.
Should be a good one. LSU might be 2-2, but their offense is averaging 42 points a game. They're averaging nearly 500 yards per game. Both of those numbers are significantly better than Auburn. So I'm going to go with Miles Brennan and LSU.
See, I don't know. Like, Auburn has probably looked like the better team outside of who takes snaps under center. But LSU's offense has been really, really good. I'm gonna take Auburn in a high-scoring game. Tigers win.
In honor of last year's Halloween costume, and man, I don't know how I feel about picking this team while wearing this costume, but I'm gonna go with LSU. I think Bo Nix, man. That's all I gotta say is Bo Nix, man. You're inferior to Miles Brennan, so I'm going Miles Brennan and the Tigers. Hey, thank you, man. Love you, man. Go Tigers. There you go. I'm wearing Tigers, I guess. That makes sense.
Book of Harris. There are many, many life-changing lessons that you can learn in the Book of Harris. I try to spread
the Book of Mormon.
I try to spread my knowledge as best as I can. I'm trying to help everyone out in any way I can. In the Book of Harris, right at the front, I don't think it's the first page. I think it's the second because there's some more important life lessons I have to give. But at the top of the second page in the Book of Harris, it says, and I quote, "Never pick Bo Nix." It says it there at the top. So because of that reason, and for that reason only, I'm out.
It's now when I tell everybody that when I went over and watched the Dodgers with Blake, we played a game of NCAA football, and he said, you know what? I'm picking him. So he played with Bo Nix and Auburn.
I thought to myself, the reason I said, there's no way that in this video game with these updated rosters that a video game Bo Nix could be just as bad in the video game in real life.
7 interceptions.
7 interceptions.
I played with Marshall.
Yeah.
We are Marshall. We are Marshall.
I'm trying to pull up. I got the Bo Nix stat line if you guys want to see it real quick from that game.
Bo Nix stat line. I want you guys to see what exactly I was working with Bo Nix.
And read the final score.
Yeah, that'll be up there too. While we're doing this, Blake, I'm kind of disappointed. Just looking through the pick'ems, we don't have the Alabama game because it's Mississippi State and Mike Leach this week.
Yeah, well, when I saw that the spread was 32, I thought, that's just a little too much.
On Nick Saban's birthday, that too. Come on.
So here's Bo Nix's stat line, guys. You look at it in hindsight, it's not too bad. 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. Had a long of 97, only sacked once, but 8 interceptions. Completed 54% of his passes. So that's believable as well. Do not have
score.
What does that say? 86-27.
Marshall on the road, baby. We are Marshall.
Yeah, so it wasn't a good showing by Bo Nix or Auburn's defense. But then again, I'm pretty sure Marshall started on their own, 5-yard line or 10-yard line multiple times because of the interception. So that's another reason right there. Northwestern at Iowa, guys.
I know Northwestern beat up on Maryland. I think Iowa gets a bounce back win. Big bounce back win for the Hawkeyes this week.
Yeah, I'm taking Iowa. I think just plain and simple, they're the better team.
Iowa lost to a Purdue team this last week without Rondale Moore, but David Bell, their other great receiver, showed up and showed out. I think Iowa's going to get the win at home in a bounce back game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Iowa. Iowa as well. Virginia Tech at Louisville.
Man, we all talked about Louisville potentially being a sleeper team at the beginning of the season, and no. I've got Virginia Tech. I don't think Virginia Tech is that good of a team. And we've talked about this in the past. I feel like they're solid. I don't think they're anything special. I think Virginia Tech wins this game. I'll say by 6.
Yeah, Louisville's just been uninspiring. They've got offensive pieces. They just don't put together full games. I'm going to take Virginia Tech.
I'm going to go with Louisville. I think this is their week to get a win. It's one of the most evenly matched opponents they've had in a few weeks. They had a really tough stretch to start off the year, but I'm going to go with Louisville.
Yeah, 2 ACC teams that have really let us down this year, but I'm going to go with Virginia Tech just because I think they've been the better team. But Louisville,
all right.
What happened to you guys? All right, guys, Arkansas at number 12, Texas A&M.
Arkansas has played well. I don't have a reason to pick them this week. I'm going to go with Kellen Mond and the Ags.
Yeah, and Felipe Franks winning a big game like this, it's hard to pick them. I'm going to take Texas A&M, but I think the game stays close.
An elite Big 12 quarterback battle, and I'm going with Texas. I'm sorry, not Big 12. SEC quarterback battle. I'm going with Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas A&M in this one. Guys, probably the best game of the weekend. That's number 3 Ohio State on the road at number 14 Penn State.
I think Penn State comes. I think Penn State comes out absolutely firing this week. I don't think it's enough for them to hang on and win this game. I think Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns at least. Look, I already mentioned it. I'm a huge fan of the wide receiving core. 8 guys caught passes last week. Freshman catches or makes an amazing touchdown grab. 2 guys have over 100 yards. I think Ohio State is the team to beat in the Big Ten this year. I think they win their 15th consecutive regular season conference game over Penn State. Not 15 consecutive over Penn State, but 15 total. But they
regular season
played
wins.
Penn State,
Yeah, after what we saw last week, I'm not even sure Penn State's a top 14 to 15 team. We'll see what they come out with this week. I think Ohio State handles them. I'm taking the Buckeyes.
Well, I'm going to say this real quick, and I'm going to take this graphic off and fix something. Blake, Lyle, you said they're not a top 14 or 15 team, and that's because they're not, because they're actually ranked number 18 in the country.
Oh, you're right.
18. Indiana is ranked 17. So think about that. I'm going Ohio State. I think it doesn't matter what happened last week for Penn State. Ohio State's just one of the best teams in the country. I'm going with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ohio State, too. That's an easy one. All right, guys, to wrap things up, we each have our own team. So Coach Harbaugh, Michigan State at your number 13 ranked Michigan Wolverines.
We got a text message. I think that about sums it up, boys. Hail to the victors, valiant hail. Michigan by 14 at least. By 2 touchdowns. The boys bring this home. Battle for the Paul Bunyan thing. They're going to get it back. Michigan State is not back. They don't have it. We are riding things out in Ann Arbor this year. We're going to finish a whopping 2nd in the Big Ten this year, and we're going to finish in 2nd with pride. Hail to Michigan, the best team in the West, something like that. Go Blue.
In the West.
You know what? No, we came out firing last week against Pitt. I was tired of seeing this offense put up 12 points a game.
Wrong game, Lyle. Wrong game, Lyle.
What?
You're doing Michigan State.
You're right. I'm taking Michigan.
Coach, your late game awareness is really gone downhill.
I jumped the gun early. Give me Michigan.
Michigan. And Josh, you didn't do what I told you to do, man.
Oh, I can't pour. I'm in my room, man. I can't pour the milk everywhere. But what I will say is, who's got it better than us? Nobody. Go Blue.
Blake?
Michigan. All right, number 4, Notre Dame at Georgia Tech.
God, somebody told me the other day, and this actually makes sense to me. And Lyle, we can talk about this on another show whenever you want. They made a good point. I think Notre Dame is a championship caliber team without a championship caliber quarterback. And I don't mean to throw that out at Ian Book. I just think it's true. I think they have a lot of assets there that would make them a championship caliber team. But they're missing that elite quarterback. They're missing that Justin Fields or the Trevor Lawrence or the Joe Milton. So that doesn't change my pick for this game. We just didn't talk about them at all this week. I've got Notre Dame by a lot, but I figured I'd throw that out since that's a new take from me, and we didn't talk about them.
Oh, I agree with you. That's a good take, and I think that's pretty spot on. However, for this week, now we're ready with the music. One game too early. Look, I was tired of seeing this team put up 12 points a game on offense. I was trying out some things early. We weren't getting it done. We needed to put up more points. So I said, we're going to be firing on all cylinders last week, boys. We ran Pitt out of the building. We're going to run Georgia Tech out of the building. Notre Dame by 20 at least.
Josh, I want to say this. I just got a note from, I'll call him my producer and my personal chef, and that's our good pal Brian David. He said, the line is Michigan plus 25.5, and you set it at 14.
I'm saying at least 14. I'm not setting no line.
So you're not saying they're covered, so they're not going to cover.
Oh, I mean, it depends. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. So Michigan covers. I'll change it.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State's got a really good chance to win this week. I'm sorry, I just totally forgot what game we're on.
That's 2 now in 2 games.
That was me making fun of you, Lyle.
Oh,
come on, Brian.
I'm going to go Notre Dame by 105.
Not by 100, but Notre Dame by at least 30.
I broke my fake whistle.
Number 1 Clemson.
It doesn't matter who's quarterback. I think Phil Jurkovec has been good for Boston College, but it really doesn't matter. I think Clemson is by far superior.
Yeah, I'm going to take Clemson. Whether it be DJ Uiagalelei or Trevor Lawrence or whoever for Clemson, top to bottom, they're so well-rounded. Look, like Josh said, Jurkovic's been good. Boston College has been a little bit of a surprise this year in a good way. They're not going to hang with Clemson. Give me Clemson.
I'm going to quote myself here. I've been following protocol at Clemson. The only thing that hurts is missing an opportunity to be with my teammates this weekend and play the game that I love. I'll be watching from isolation, and I'm going to watch this team win by 10,000 points. Actually, it's probably going to be less. I'm going to go 45 points. Clemson's going to win at home in one of the probably 45 death valleys there are in college football. I'm going to go with Clemson at home. Boston College, go back to the Ivy League.
And I'm going to go with Clemson in this one. All right, guys, final game. Texas at number 6, Oklahoma State.
You know what? His stats weren't amazing last week, but I was impressed with Spencer Sanders overall in his first game back for Oklahoma State. I mentioned this earlier. They're not firing on all cylinders yet. I still think Sanders, Hubbard, and Wallace, that is probably the best trio of skill players in different positions in the country. That's really my hot take. I think they're not firing yet. I think this could be the week where they really wake up and they get back to their full potential. I like Oklahoma State by 6.
Yeah, I said earlier during the Q&A, I don't really know what to think of Oklahoma State. I agree that Wallace, Sanders, Hubbard are at least good. I just don't know if they're a national championship caliber team. They are, however, better than this 2020 Texas squad. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
You know, Oklahoma State's led by the guy who's got the second best hair in all of college football behind me. Also, how did none of us go as Mike Gundy for a costume? That'd be a good one, too.
I mean, none of us are 40, so.
I'm a man.
Also, I don't watch.
I'm 40. Oh, wow. We could be someone else, Josh. Never mind. I'm going to go Oklahoma State. I think having they're getting all of their pieces of their team back. They're getting some guys back from injury. You saw Sanders back last week, who was out for a few weeks with injury. So I'm going Oklahoma State. It's going to be a close one. I'm going to say Oklahoma State by a score, and it's going to be close. This is going to be Texas's. This is going to be a big showing for Texas. See what they can do for the rest of the year. Oh, that's why I put this game last.
All right.
His McConaughey is so bad.
Texas Longhorns. The Oklahoma State Cowboys. One's got a gun and one's got some horns. All right. That's all.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep going. I was going to put you bigger so you could have a whole song you were going to sing.
Oh, we can do that then, too. I'll just do that. You can put me in the big screen, ladies and gentlemen. My Texas Longhorns. You know, I like to think of Texas as a Lincoln. A nice, brand new Lincoln. Now, please no. Think of it as, I'll put it nicely.
You can't hear anything you're saying.
By 20 points, no questions asked. They're winning this game. It's easy. Brady, you can put that note on the back of your wall right now.
What'd you say?
Texas by double digits.
Oh, give me a spread. Give me a spread they're gonna hit.
Yeah. I mean, they're 3-point underdogs. So I'm saying they're winning by 10.
Okay.
They're winning by 10. Put that on the board. Thank you. All right, that does wrap up this edition of the Harris Highlights Show. It looks like Brian Kelly's Jim Harbaugh right there. Make sure to follow the show on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram at Harris Highlights Show. This is really getting off the lids. All right, guys, you can listen to our show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You guys can become Patreon members for as little as $1.
Stay there, Josh.
To unlock exclusive behind-the-scenes benefits. Again, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That way you know when we're have a first moment of the show. Things have gone off the rail, guys. Any parting words before we take off for the week?
Let's go Dodgers. I think I speak for Blake, too. Let's go Dodgers. And other than that, the only other thing I've got to say is we're getting Paul Bunyan back, and who's got it better than us? Nobody. Go Blue.
Why didn't you turn your lights on in your room earlier in the show?
Because I thought the backlight was going to look bad, and we have never gone this long before when starting at 5, and it is pitch black outside.
All right. Yeah, wear a mask like Trevor Lawrence is doing, or as Trevor Lawrence is doing. The real one obviously didn't wear it long enough because he got the COVID. Whoops. And vote, I guess. Everyone's saying that, so go vote. In our presidential election that we will be posting the videos on Twitter that I put together of our attack ads. So we'll be holding our own vote, I guess, too.
We'll also post photos of our costumes, and you can vote for who you like most.
All right, sounds good, guys. Again, all the information is in the description of this video. Thanks for tuning in. Give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment. Watch some college football this weekend. Interact with us on Twitter. It's going to be a fun time. For Coach Jim Harbaugh, head coach Brian Kelly, new COVID, in his system, quarterback at the Clemson Tigers, Trevor Lawrence.
Whoops.
All right. And we're going to tell you brand new people, you beautiful people. make sure you go drive a nice, beautiful Lincoln. We'll see you guys all right here next week.